20,000 years ago. Just somewhere in there, right? We had evidence around the world of highly sophisticated advanced civilizations that were not, I don't believe were like necessarily spacefaring or had the tech like we have at all. No. I mean, and that's not because we would find it, because we wouldn't. That's the scary thing, is that if you were to try to imagine what would be left over from our civilization, and let's think about this for a second on a totality of our civilization. We record nearly everything on either paper or digitally. Nearly everything. Some stone structures we've created, like old churches or whatever, have some writing in them, in the stones. But most of the stuff we build is like glass, it's metal, whatever, right? Let's say something happened to us and we were gone for like 2,000-3,000 years. And then another group came and was like, I don't think there's anybody here before us. What would be left from us? Okay, I want to ask you this. What do you think would be left of anything we have? I mean, anything. What would be left from us?
I mean, I'd got to think... I mean, this is a separate question that I'll ask you later about some previous civilizations, but I got to think all the technology would be wiped, gone. I don't know.
Well, okay, so paper 500,000 years. Metal just corrodes like super fast. Glass would be gone. We would be looking at nothing that exists from our civilization.
Nothing.
Nothing except for, and this is the except, and the except here is a big except, because the except is what links all of this together. The only thing that would survive would be the stonework we made, specifically with granite. The limestone wouldn't make it.
Why granite?
Granite's one of the hardest materials on Earth. And this is something, again, that's another one of these echo things we're going to be talking about continuously, because the types of stone you work with matter significantly. If you have tools that are softer than the stone you're working with, you can't even manipulate it at all. So if you go take a piece of granite, okay, from out in the woods or something, you'll find a chunk of granite, and you go take like things you have around the house or whatever, right? And you try to do something with that. Most of the tools you use, unless they're harder than that, aren't going to really do anything to it.
True. That's why people use like granite countertops all the time.
That's it. But not only that, it lasts forever. Granite, diorite, and dolomite, some of these materials, basalt, granite, were the most popular two ways that these ancients built. They were brilliant. We think that they were like primitive. No, they left behind more than we would find from our entire civilization now. I want to make that statement very clear, is that they have more from them than we would find from us. Because they built everything with these giant granite basalt megaliths. And they recorded all their stories. Not all of them did. And then we'll get into Atlantis in a minute. But like the ancient Sumerians, and then this new civilization we're going to talk about in Eastern Turkey, and all of these regions, even parts of Egypt, they wrote in stone. That's why tablets. I mentioned the legend of Etana. We were talking about it. It's a cuneiform tablet that's clay that was fired.
Can you explain cuneiform to people who don't know?
Cuneiform is a style of writing that are basically, you do indents into something like either stone. They use stone sometimes, like the Code of Hammurabi from ancient the Sumerian region is a giant granite stele that's got cuneiform. And what it means is like they realize that if you try to draw something on a surface, like a painting, it's just going to disappear. So the only way to have a message preserved would be to etch it into stone or clay. And they realize if you do that, it can potentially serve, if it's a hard enough material, not limestone or something, if it's granite or basalt, it can potentially survive for 10, 20, 30, potentially 50,000 years.
Does it matter what the elements of some sort of natural disaster crisis are for it to survive, though? As an example, could something like that survive? And if I'm asking some stupid questions today, I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about like carbon dating and stuff like that. But could something like the volcano eruption at Pompeii, if all the volcanic fluids got all over the magma, got all over the tablets, could that totally destroy them? Could something with that type of force like make it null and void?
Some things were undoubtedly destroyed. Yeah. But one of the amazing things about it, and again, I credit the Sumerians and the later iterations of them being the greatest, most sophisticated thinking people in the world. They used clay for a reason. What's so funny about clay is that in order to make clay the most durable possible, you have to put it in fire. It's brilliant. So they did some stone, yeah, because they did granite and that'll last a long time. That's really hard to do. To carve integrate messages into granite's not easy, and that gets into what you're talking about with some of the pottery from Egypt. But they realized that if they took clay and then wrote all their stories, etched it into it cuneiform, meaning embedded into the rock in the clay, and then they fired it, it could last somewhere around 6,000 years. So some of the tablets were rewritten over and over again from subsequent entire civilizations to preserve the original story of those civilizations.